Hanging out, just another night of hanging out, just another night of the week. Well, to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight. We're spilling the beans.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Here we are,
Here we are.
spilling the beans.
We are spelling the beans. Let me count my legs. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. For those who have joined, thank you. And it's our 25th episode,
Whoa.
Whole quarter.
a whole quarter old.
Whole
Yeah.
quarter.
Mickey said something, which was something about, should have called it Washington Epi. I heard something out there,
Yeah, it's like a crackle.
like someone walking on ice.
Yeah.
So
we are.
yeah, and so it's our 25th episode, which is a great thing. And so we're gonna do a little recap of our episodes. Now, do we have them like I can remember the first one.
I have the
Oh, the list.
YouTube pulled up.
Oh, pulled.
Whoa.
Okay, excellent. And also we'll mention other fun things and things we've done or learned or
Mhm.
changed. On our
Yeah.
journey.
What ideas have stemmed from
Mm.
the ideas that
Yeah.
we've talked about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I've been thinking a lot about
Pogs.
pogs, and doing segments.
Oh yeah.
And maybe from there we can pick out some things. Like I was thinking about I know on one of the episodes we did like the superhero thing.
Yeah.
What was the name of
The
them?
potentials.
The potentials.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be cool, maybe if we all took turns coming up with one superhero for each episode.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
And
is
we just
fun.
wouldn't that be fun?
That would be
That
We'll
is
have
fun.
a segment.
Yeah.
That would be excellent. I'll
I
be
don't
right
know.
back. I'm just gonna check outside. I'm hearing strange noises, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
You guys continue.
Yeah. So I was thinking that'd be a fun segment. I'd like to have little segments, but for the peeps watching, anything that comes to mind that would make a good segment, we can do. We've been doing Kaylee's blog posts.
Or
That's fun.
Connor reads
Connor
some
reading-
of his dad's poems.
Yep, some of
sometimes,
Don's
too.
poems. That's fun. Yeah.
And that
Really
would
cool.
kind of fit into the news broadcast thing we were talking about too.
Yep.
Of just weird local news of
Yeah.
stupid things that are going on or whatever.
love
that
that
could be
idea so
another
much.
segment in it.
Yep.
That would be fun.
I would love to set up a little set in a corner somewhere,
Mhm.
where we could write little skits for new stuff.
Yeah.
Or just talk about I think we should do the Warren, what is it, Warren Gazette? What is it?
Oh yeah.
But
Warren
just-
Times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
read something like the Warren Times.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. That'd be so fun.
That would be good.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in there.
All right.
We were talking about another segment thing, like the news thing that we were talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
Doing something like that. And Abel said setting up an area that just had a desk so we could go over.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Like a little makeshift set that we can write little scripts for. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that using that table there.
I don't know.
The one that we
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
over
some
there.
some little corner somewhere.
That is a nice
We'll
table.
just have we seem to have a decent amount of cameras now. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We certainly do.
Yeah.
Let us know also if audio's good.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. And if you had any ideas also, or
Yeah,
if anything was beneficial, I don't know if you guys mentioned that, but yeah,
Mm,
yes.
let us know.
yeah.
The potential. I mean, with the potentials, I've been thinking I'm always trying to think of fun little characters or
Yeah.
something like that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
That every episode, just back to where before I left.
Mhm.
Dave asked, "What's this about?"
What about?
Our podcast.
Oh,
Wow.
oh yeah. So we could,
It's about ideas.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a podcast about ideas. Dave.
exactly. Yeah, we should. Yeah, also reiterate the biggest thing Abel kind of spawned the idea for the show.
Yeah, me and Kaylee. We were talking about it.
And you both kind of came up with this idea, well, with this thought too, that we don't have so much time to get to certain ideas that we come up with.
Right.
Maybe like other folks might pick it up, or maybe they won't. But also, it's kind of like a record of us coming up with ideas either on the spot or
Yeah.
that we have.
For us to do or for other people to do. And,
Mhm.
you know, you can always send them in. Yeah, we should find a way to have them sent in where people can
Yeah.
Yeah.
send to us and we can show them.
Yeah, with some of our cool new technology, maybe we could put an email that goes up
Mhm.
or something like that.
That'd
Or
be cool. Yeah, because that's part of it too. Is like
we can also put it in the chat too. you know,
ideas
the-
that we come up with. We're not like tied to. Like
Right.
you can take it and run with it if
Yeah.
you want. You know.
Yeah,
Because,
right.
Like there's a whole thing like there's a lot of that in like art and stuff where it's like they don't want to share like the process or like how they're or whatever they're
Mhm.
doing, you know. So the idea to just like come up with these things and like, yeah, if you want to take it and run with it, cool.
Go for it.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We stem and then we have dialogue and stem off of that a little bit, but also I think also just the discussions that we're usually having, I think what also spawned you guys to come up with the idea are usually interesting, you know,
Mhm.
and they're educational to someone who might be outside of the process, and then they get involved with it, and you know, it snowballs the idea. I
Mhm.
think that's also kind of like what an attempt of this is, you know, to get something to snowball.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been thinking about
Things-
possibly getting into like making action figures.
Oh, that would be
I remember when I was much younger, I had this T-Rex,
Mhm.
and the outer coating of it was made out of rubber, and I always loved that figure. And
Was it the big one?
it was a big one.
Yeah,
It was
I had
like,
that.
did you have that? It
My-
was like
it was
rubber.
the best toy I had.
I know.
Yeah, I thought I could do more too
Yeah.
because there was like inside. I didn't cut it open, but
And so I started doing some research on it, and people are making like really articulate action figures, and they're using like a lot of them are making them with this rubber putty
Mhm.
and masking tape. And if you look at some of the stuff that they're making, they're absolutely incredible. If you look up like Jurassic Park T-Rex action figure, but look up like made out of what is it? Malaputty something. I think one of the guys that does it is Marco Makes.
The best
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about that toy that I had, that same one that you're mentioning, was it was the most detailed like dinosaur toy I had.
Yeah.
So the detail of it was amazing, and
Yeah.
it felt real.
Yeah.
You know, and also like the feeling of it.
Yeah. Look up Marco Makes.
Yeah, this is it. Oh yeah. Sculpting
Yeah,
a
that was
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
that
Look at-
T-Rex that came up was the one that I had.
These are made out of putty and masking tape.
What?
It's unbelievable.
That is so
It's
cool.
it's absolutely unbelievable. I've been following him for a while.
So scrub.
So it's kind of like a
we just like scrub.
Look, oh yeah, it shows him how he makes them. Unbelievable. That is literally rolled up masking tape and putty.
Wow.
And
That's
when you
great.
see, like, if you scroll to the end of this and you see what it comes out like, you're like, I cannot believe someone made this.
Hey.
holy crap.
And then he sculpts it with that.
But he makes some of them that are fully like posable.
That's awesome.
Like, look at that.
that looks great.
What?
It's unbelievable
That's insane.
what this guy does.
That's excellent.
But like, it looks very. If you watch, he has a whole series of making them, and I thought it'd be so cool to do like. I feel like any sort of
That's really nice.
like animatronics from movies from like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, right.
Because they were just basically a robotic skeleton and putty,
Yeah.
like pretty much this stuff.
Hmm.
You
on
could
the
also do
outside.
like crazy good stop motion animation with
Oh
those
my
figures, you know? I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
some really awesome clips of like people just using basic action figures
Yeah.
and doing great stop motion.
Yeah.
And I mean, with something that looks that real, if you were to do it well,
Yeah.
you know, if you were to do those steps of the very tedious steps that stop motion involves.
Oh,
Mm.
it takes a lot of time to do it.
Now, is this like hardened?
So,
Or is it-
The putty
so
must
he has
harden,
he has
right?
two. He has one called rubber swords, I believe, which are just solid the way they are. But then he has fully articulated ones where he actually does joints, and it's so crazy. He's using like hinges from like a door, like a cabinet hinge
Mhm.
for like the mouth and stuff. And I mean, you can't tell. Like, I think that one back there,
Yeah.
I think that mouth opens, and he has like a fully articulating
Wow.
tongue that comes out of it. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable.
The detail in some action figures that I had as a kid, especially the dinosaur
Yeah.
ones, was like amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just been thinking about that.
That's
I don't know
great.
why that came up.
Cool.
But I was thinking, I was
Switch it
I
back.
was thinking about doing it with a 3D printer, like printing like a hard inside,
Mhm.
like with no detail on it.
Yep.
That is posable. You could do that with a 3D printer, and then puttying over on top of it.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
You know, that
That
putty,
rubber.
that rubber,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
don't
would
know,
be
I-
awesome. And then sculpt that
and then sculpt that.
or paint it.
Yeah.
Sculpt and paint it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought
That would
was
be
rad.
good. Well, that's like a stem from like if you make your own action figures or if you have your own like superheroes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just make them.
Could make the
That,
superheroes.
so
that
Yeah.
that's what I was
would.
thinking. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this, but I always had this idea of making like locals, like action figures of local people.
Oh, like Beret Man?
like yeah,
Beret Man,
like there was
yeah.
this guy when I was selling in Brooklyn. There was a guy who was always outside of the place that I sold, and he sold waters for $1, but he was very animated, and he would like throw the water bottles up in the air, like juggle
Oh.
them, and he'd be like, "Water $1, water," and I just like I felt like I wanted to make an action figure of him that had like
The water bottles.
action, you know, like water $1, you know, and like there were so many people I thought of that I would be able to do that with, like just local heroes, I guess.
Yeah, I
You
can
know?
think of all kinds. At least like from when I was growing up, a good one. Like, and it would be like a joke amongst a small community, but still,
Yeah, I know.
everybody would want to buy it.
Yeah, everyone super local would.
Yeah.
I mean, it
yeah.
would not be something you can make a living off of, I don't think. But
Like Goodwin and I would make a whole set of Loafer's Corner, like
Yeah.
in the middle of Bristol downtown. You know, just because you know
yeah.
the Rip to Stop, you know, and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
all kinds of folks like from different parts of the state
Oh
roll
yeah.
through there, and that was a fun place for us to just. I think there's a Dunkin' Donuts there, so
Yeah.
also an excellent place to just hang out
Yeah.
as a kid and just pretend you're waiting for the bus, or we were waiting for the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't, and then to anyone else also, like if they're well done, to anyone who doesn't know what they are, like Bristol Heroes or something like that, or like Warren,
Yeah.
you know, the Warren Knights,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, something like that.
Yeah.
What if
Elvis.
you could make them like simple animatronics too? So like they could actually like you put like a motor or something, and they can't like the juggling
They
guy
actu-
can.
oh,
actually,
man.
Yeah, yeah, that's
like
a-
not even
yeah.
just posable. Like
Right.
you can do the
Because I mean, they used to have. I feel like they used to have action
Make
figures
a
in the
make a
90s.
toy juggle.
yeah, or like it has like
Oh,
a
yeah.
motor in it. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
it like.
Well, they
mean-
used to have action figures in the 90s that could like you could like wind it up, and then it would like
That would be
Mhm.
cool.
you know what
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah,
That would be so
Put it like
cool.
on a string.
I want to make what Kaylee's saying, like make it actually juggle. It'd be the first toy to ever juggle.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you could find them.
Yeah.
I bet they have like
Maybe like magnets.
Magnets or some kind of motor. I'm just imagining like a motor with like gears that just makes the arms move.
Yeah, but I'm thinking,
Mhm.
how would you make it actually juggle something?
So
Oh,
has
man,
action-
if it's like magnets, if it's like two, Maybe it like switches them, like clips them.
Mhm.
You've got something there.
Or
Yeah.
it's like batteries. Oh yeah, like magnets. The opposite.
Yeah, and it like switches poles, and then like one switches to the other side, and then
Yeah.
one switches to the other. It's really simple. Like and you might even be able to do that with a little click, because it just needs a charge to switch poles sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So that's the same as a lighter click. The click lighters, you just take one of those things out. Fashion. Huh.
That would be.
We should try to make a the juggling water guy.
That'd be
Could be
cool.
the first.
And then you remember like I recall a lot of the Ninja Turtles had like I know one of them you could like you put him on the ground and then you could pull his like shell like his
Oh, he
body
turned him
down
into another turtle.
and then you let him go and he would flip. He would do a complete
On his
backflip,
own. That's so cool.
right? So
Yeah.
there are like some old techniques that they would use in action figures to make them do these things. You know,
Hmm.
probably the most primitive being the wind up thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then the talking thing. Do you remember they had the ones with the strip,
Mm-hmm.
and you put the strip into the shell and you pull it and it would talk.
No,
You don't remember that?
no.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
like a strip of tape,
Yeah,
like a little
And-
tape on cardboard, and you could put it into the back of the shell,
yeah.
and if you pulled it through, it would talk.
Wow.
Like Shell Shock. you know?
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
But like you could have them talk or whatever.
I didn't have
yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
I,
you should pull one of those.
I did have
What's it called?
I think they were like just talking Ninja Turtle action figure or something.
I did have the ones where they would fold into like a turtle.
Yeah.
And Luke actually, our friend Luke got us one recently. And that's pretty awesome. Yeah, you know what's pretty impressive too? Transformers.
Those were really cool.
The most impressive like toys.
Yeah.
My brother had a bunch of them, and I would look at them, and they were just insane. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing. Like it was an actual car toy,
Yeah.
and then it was an action figure. Like that was rather
This has gotta
like
be newer.
like jointed, like
Yeah.
well jointed and everything.
Yeah.
These are newer ones.
Oh yeah, those are new ones. Do they talk? I think the old ones were like
You go to images, Kaylee?
Huh?
You go to images? Yeah, go to like vintage.
Oh, these guys?
Oh man,
Yep, that's them.
Whoa.
dude.
That's them. Those would talk.
That's crazy.
City sewer. You might be able. Yep. That is like a speaker.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you run the strip through it and it talks. You might be able to find that on YouTube.
$50
talking. Yeah.
US. Wow.
Whoa.
That's excellent.
Super cool. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things you could do, and I feel like a lot of this stuff was done like a really long time ago, where parts like this are probably super cheap. Probably get them on like, I don't know, some website probably has stuff like that.
I'm
Mm.
kind of curious the if there's been a dip in like action figure, you know,
What?
like
Purchases?
yeah,
No, they're bigger than they've ever
right?
been.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, good.
Oh my god!
I mean, that's good,
people spend hundreds of dollars on them.
but for kids, like
For kids, no. Have you ever walked? They're higher than they've ever been. Have you
That's
ever
great.
walked through like a Target toy aisle, like an
Yeah,
action figure
yeah.
aisle? It's like empty.
yeah, they're usually empty.
They're
Yeah,
completely
yep,
empty.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm always looking for like cool Batman figures, like the McFarlanes or something.
they're always
Um,
empty.
Yeah, they are. And I was just curious because, you know, with the uptick in digital devices, iOS, like tablets and things like that.
Yeah.
But then thinking about it, like my nephew doesn't play any less with action figures that I did.
Mm.
as a
No,
kid.
no.
You know,
Yeah,
still plays
they're-
with them just the same. That's
Yeah,
good.
they're massive. Yeah,
That's a good thing.
yeah. They never really went out of style.
Yeah. Well, certainly not for me either.
Yeah.
Still buying.
And, like,
I
the-
see it cool.
I think like our generation. I think the reason why they're so popular right now is our generation. When we were kids, they were huge,
Mm,
and then they continue to be huge. But like they kind of like really got good when we were kids.
yeah,
I
they're
feel like-
amazing. Yeah.
So like now,
Transformers was like
adults
80s.
are buying them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like really articulated, really very close to replica,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah.
And,
And movement too. Like
there's a whole
joint.
yeah. If you go into like a Target, there's like the toy aisle, but then there's like an adult like action figure
Collectible.
A
aisle.
more adult. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like over where like the TVs are and stuff,
Mhm.
and there's a whole aisle there.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I'm always just in the kid aisle.
No, if you go over where the TVs are, there's a whole like
That's where you found the Batman one,
No, that was hidden in like a kids section.
was it?
Yeah, the gold label. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, all like the horror movie action figures.
it wasn't
Mm.
far from there though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out then. Dang,
Pretty cool. Yeah.
don't know about that aisle in Target. Well, cool. Well, that's neat. I really like. I mean, the idea too, especially Kaylee. Like, I'm thinking of your idea of making your own action figure. Kaylee's getting into stop motion.
Mm.
Yeah, you've been doing that for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
Yep.
that's fun.
It is fun.
and
Super
it's
cool.
that's really cool. I mean, the idea to take like something like that and then kind of bring it to life. But I would and then the juggler, if that's to be your first one, the
Yeah.
juggler. What would the name be of that superhero? The water juggler.
The water juggler,
Yeah. What would that
probably
name be?
water $1.
$1.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think so.
Water $1.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's good.
I think so. Yeah, but I had a list of them. I'll have to dig it up.
I mean, I started to write. I think I started to write, or at least started to draw, like funny little, like just stupid sketches of Beret Man from Bristol. You know, the guy that always walked around in a beret. And Goodwin
think
and
I
I
know.
always saw
I
him.
won't know much of the Bristol guy.
Yeah. It was like a downtown, like real niche thing. But he was like this tough looking kind of like, he had like his beard was like 3 times mine, white beard. He looked like Santa. But he always wore like a sweatpants, and he had a beret, and he smoked cigarettes, and he looked like really fit. Like he was like, we just imagined him just like he could probably kill you with like just a stare or something, you know. Very quiet guy. But he always popped up out of nowhere, like especially at night. Like
Out of,
he
like, a
would just
bush?
be like there, and then he'd just start like either walking towards you or walking away, and then kind of disappear.
Okay.
It was really strange. So I put like I was trying to like make shots of him like on like kind of like an unsung hero, unknown even,
Mhm.
you know, hanging out like and wailing to the moon on top of the Christmas tree in Bristol. And that was like one thing. But yeah, no, I really like that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Who else was I thinking of? Oh, we had for a while. We had the Elvis guy. Do you remember the Elvis guy?
Oh yeah, yep. He was definitely like a known kind of legend or character in the 2 towns too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always dressed like Elvis, talked like Elvis.
He was
Remember him?
I think he was like an official impersonator too.
He was always at Sip and Dip.
Yeah.
Always at Sip and Dip.
In over there?
The Bristol.
In Bristol.
Oh,
The Bristol Sip and
in
Dip.
Bristol.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he drove around in Cadillac, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a pink. I don't know if it was pink, but I think it was a pink Cadillac. Yeah. Characters. That's great. That was a fun episode. That's. I still think about that. I'm still kind of working too on the potentials. That's an idea that I continue to work on.
Mm.
and
That'd be
come up
fun
with
if we could
ideas.
actually make the figures. I mean, I got the 3D printer. I guess we just need some of that putty. We could actually make the figures.
That'd be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was one episode.
It would be cool to tie in too, like while you're drawing out the characters and stuff, using the projection table once you draw it out to like have the image projected on there and to build it.
Oh yeah.
while
Yeah,
the
because that's
projectors-
if you watch
That's what he
how
was.
he was doing it. All those outlines, they were literally big long rolls of masking tape that he would roll up into really little like straw,
Oh yeah.
and he
yeah.
would go around in masking tape.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's really neat. Yeah, I'll watch further on that.
Hmm.
So that's one episode down.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the first episode was actually Quint, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, and that was an idea similar. It was the first kind of idea or theme that
Yeah.
I wanted to make for everything.
I think it was an idea that me and you batted around for a long time,
Mhm.
right? We would always just talk about it randomly.
He's like one of the best characters in like film history, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
This is Quint from Jaws.
Yeah, and like a whole comic book series about Quint, all the outside of,
Outside of Jaws, like
Outside
a
of
prequel.
Jaws,
I
yeah.
think the idea was like for a prequel.
Mhm.
And the furthest I got in writing for it, which wasn't bad, I still need to show it to you. Again, the idea at that time was like they're unfinished ideas and thoughts, like just throwing into the ether.
Mhm.
But was I think as far as we got even discussing it was it was kind of like a projected, like how do you go back in time, like with Quint, and the idea was it's like a flashback, like before you die, as he's getting like eaten by the shark. It's a flashback to his life, and that's the comic, and showing all of his stories.
Yeah.
And the idea was like almost maybe every issue was kind of a monster of the week, a new sea creature or enemy of the sea that he had to kind of thwart or get through, or maybe even otherwise, like just an experience that he had to make him who he was in the movie.
Yeah, we bat around the idea of like being either silly with it or really like serious about
A
it.
little more serious, yeah.
Yeah, and like really tie into it. And like I think we had ideas for both.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know that, like I think we were talking about one where he was born with all of his facial hair, like when he was born.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And He came out with like a bandana on.
Right, right. And then I think another thing too was like he lived with his uncle or something, and his uncle always said like explain to him who his father was
Mhm.
or who his mother was. Like your mother was a mermaid, your father was like or you're like the sperm of like Zeus, and then it was like you're the sperm of the guy that killed Zeus.
Mhm.
You know, or like you're the Cthulhu or things like that. Like
Mhm.
always, it was always different every time his uncle said
Mhm.
who his
Mhm.
dad was or who his mother was. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. We danced with that. That fell asleep. I think we fell asleep on it at least.
Yeah.
But still, it's fun to think about still and talking about it. You know.
I think the reason we fell asleep on it was because it was like right before I was going to New York when we were. It was actually over the summer, but like I think I had just started really ramping up production,
Mm.
Mhm.
and
Yeah, it's an
it was
endeavor
just
too.
I was too busy.
Yeah.
But like I did think I remember saying this now to myself, like it'd be cool if we actually set some time aside, even if it was
Yeah.
like once every 2 weeks, to set a night aside where we
Mhm.
could just write
Yeah.
ideas
Yeah.
down,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. Mickey and I have said that, and Shane too. I mean, that's like a huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about coming up with ideas and times to be creative, and you know, it's tough, especially for some artists, but routine, you know, to have that routine,
Yeah.
and that's an awesome like exercise
Mm.
and routine for like creativity and getting into or anything, any idea, sport, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, having like that's it. Okay, we get down at
Designated
this
time.
time every week. We just do this, you know, or at least get together and talk about something about it, get
Mhm.
something done. It's huge. It's really, really, really big. Yeah. Well, now's the time. We'll get
Now's
on
the time.
and then set a realistic goal.
Mhm.
We should take our own advice. Set a realistic goal.
Mhm.
You know, we come up with our like, let's do an issue or 2 issues by this date or something like that. At
Mhm.
least written or whatever. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, what's another episode we had?
We had.
I think I'm curious of our second because we went from Quint to
Well, our second was the potentials.
Potentials. Okay.
Potentials, yeah.
And then we went to the recyclable materials, which turned into the podcast. We were talking about all the podcasts.
Oh, that was the podcast. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I mean, actually, we have a good camera now. Want me to get
Yeah.
my?
Yeah.
All right, you want to explain, Abel?
Yeah. So the idea was we were looking for recycled materials to make stuff with.
Mhm.
And I always thought that pogs were something that is a very affordable kind of retro thing to purchase. And I always wanted to do some of them because I always loved the medium of them. And then I thought of guitar pedal stompers. So you put the pog into a capsule that goes onto a guitar pedal thing, and you hit it with your foot, but now your pedal board is like full of all these pogs, which I just thought was so cool.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous,
Like a
but
bunch of flair.
yeah. But is it good?
That's so good.
It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I actually 3D printed them. Yeah. And kind of this is the prototype. The finished result, I have it in my head what I want it to be. But this is the prototype. Yep. And the pog, you can actually pop the pog out if you push it.
You can interchange
Yeah.
different
And you can
pogs.
change the pog. Yeah. There we go.
I just keep seeing a random focus of.
Good old Bill.
There he is.
It's such a great shot of him too.
And
Yeah. And then you can put that pog, whatever pog you want in. And then it goes right on a guitar pedal. There's a hole in the bottom. Right there. And then you literally just stick it on the pedal. Yeah. There you go. And you can press the button.
this doesn't have a click. This button, but
It works. It works, right?
It works great. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, that's definitely the early prototype.
Mhm.
I used a very cheap plastic to make that, but
But it works.
I think I have like the finished one in my head, and it's
Mhm.
made. So I make a mold out of it, and I use epoxy so it's clear,
Mhm.
so that sometimes LEDs are very close to the buttons, so you wouldn't be able to see them. That would block the LEDs. But if we made them clear and potentially backlined it with like mirror,
Mm-hmm.
then I think the LED would make the clear part glow, like the edges around the pug, a glow from the LED underneath,
Oh right,
Oh.
yeah.
and then
yeah.
it would tell you if it was on or off.
That'd be
That's
cool.
that's
Yeah,
great.
I think that's the finished product. I feel like there's
Wow.
like one more stage where I have to actually get the design right, and then the last stage will be like the finished one.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think it would be cool.
That was a fun cast
Mm.
too. We were talking about all different ideas for Pogs.
Yeah.
And upcycling was also like Abel was like your big push for that episode too, is
Yeah,
taking old things that you could buy online. Pogs was one of them.
Affordable
Super
things, yeah.
nostalgic, and then it was really good advice in that episode, I think, on or just good ideas for people who do crafts, traveling artists,
Yeah.
like, and maybe they do use those. Like, it's perfect
Mm-hmm.
right there,
Mhm.
Yeah, the ones that we bought, we weren't too happy with, right?
No, I think that the
That was
ones
the
I
best
bought
one. Was the-
were, I think they were bootlegs from back in the day.
yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
weren't real Pogs. They were like someone printed those,
Yeah.
great.
and I was like, kind of like,
I love the bootleg Pogs though too.
That-
you
that
know?
is kinda
That's
funny.
Like another.
I thought it was really funny that they were bootlegging something that's extremely cheap, almost as if they were anticipating it being like a big thing.
Yeah.
And they never came back. I don't think they'll come back, but
oh, there. Yeah.
it's a shame because I think they're amazing Pogs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's certain
We came up with an idea for like business cards.
yeah.
You can use them for business cards.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys what I used to do for business cards? So
Mm-hmm.
I used to get ragged on a lot at the shows for not having business cards. And my mentality was like, you have a phone,
Mm.
take a picture of the sign. Like,
Mhm.
you're going to throw that business card away. It is going
Yeah.
to end up in the trash. I'm paying to have them produced. It's using paper and it's not going to go anywhere.
Mhm.
If you take a picture of it, you're even more likely to actually go there than you would be to have a card that you stuffed in your pocket somewhere.
Yep.
So, but after a while, I was like, you know what, let me try this. I went to like a flea market and I bought a big box of like old baseball cards.
Mm.
They were like, I'm talking like really shitty, not valuable baseball cards. I probably paid like $2 for, I don't know, maybe 200 of them. And I would just draw mustaches on all the guys, and then I would put my name on it. And then I would hand those out. I did that. I did like all 200 of them.
Wow.
I handed those out, and
That's
it was
good.
like, I thought it was great. It was a
Yeah.
great recycling thing. I mean, something like baseball cards or sports cards. I
Mhm.
mean, there's some that are valuable, but most are just, I mean, you can buy them for nothing,
Mm.
boxes and boxes.
Like
of 'em.
Pogs. Yeah.
Like
An
Pogs.
upcycle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And even more so, you could buy like non-sport trading cards,
Mhm.
which are really cheap, like nostalgic.
What would a non-sport?
Like you remember they used to have like cards for films. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember I had
yeah.
an ET set. Had
Yeah,
all the
okay.
ET trading
Mhm.
cards. I remember I had a Ninja Turtles.
I think I had a Jurassic Park one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
you can.
That'd
you
be
can-
cool.
Yeah.
Again, it's like nostalgic. It's I think there's like, especially for someone who's using it for like art or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's a great idea for
Yeah. I
um
love repurposing. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's my favorite medium to work in, when I can use something and turn it into something else. I absolutely love doing it.
and you nail a whole generation with that demographic, with that
Yeah.
nostalgia aspect, especially with Pogs. My gosh.
You know what's funny though? I just tried to search for genuine Pogs, and Google says, "Did you mean guinea pigs?"
Go a little closer on this.
It thinks I'm looking for guinea pigs.
Yeah. You're not though, right?
No, but that's how much they're getting searched for. I don't know.
Well,
So people don't care if they're the bootleg ones or the.
Well,
the
they don't
genuine.
care. They don't care until they get it.
No,
I
yeah.
wonder
then-
if there's a trademark
And
on
then it looks
Pog,
like
Vintage.
I don't think so.
like POG. You know what I mean? Like, is there an official trademark on it?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Well,
Uh,
so there was the Pog one. So that was 4. And then what else did we have?
That was 3. 4 was the projection table.
Oh yeah, I made a projection table. I've
Mhm.
used it a couple times. I actually shortened the legs so that I could get different things on. But yeah, no, it's fun. I really should be taking more landscape shots.
You used it for the dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire
Oh,
sweatshirt.
yeah?
Yeah, yep, for your dumpster
Yeah.
fire sweatshirts. Yeah, I did put it to good use there. I'd love to. I'm really getting into like some watercolor and starting to bone up a little on some of my illustrations. So I'd like to put those like on a grander scale. Like I'd love to like do a tracing of one of my things like on a wall, like a
Mm.
neat drawing or a cool like um kind of surreal like atmosphere. It'd be neat. So yeah, it's still in use definitely.
I wish I thought about bringing my dumpster fire outfit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That would have been a great thing to show.
Well,
I could have wore it. I could have been decked out in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I might
That
have a picture.
I wear them all the time. I think they're great.
Did Kaylee, didn't she also give you a Spill in the Bean shirt?
I don't think so.
You didn't give? Or was that
no,
an
I
idea?
was gonna make them for Christmas, and I ran out of time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still have the shirts. It's a project in process.
In process. Yeah, that was good. And I think that leads us into the next episode because Dumpster Fire was the band names. Was that one of our episodes? Was
Oh.
that episode 5?
Well, we talked about the shirts, but then I think that led into the band names.
Band names, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we had
So it was the
fun.
one-off stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? One-off, which I still think is an amazing idea, and I think it's like, not only is it a really good idea, but it's something that could make you can make a living. On
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know, you'd sell them for a high price,
Mhm.
but one-off T-shirts, one-off pieces of
Oh,
clothing.
right, yeah.
You know,
I got it.
and yeah, then we went into the what are we going to after that?
You can.
Oh, the band. Yeah, the band stuff. Yeah,
The band names, yeah.
The band names. Yeah.
I got the picture pulled up.
Oh, you got the picture pulled up? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah, there's me with less of a beard. Gee, it's weird to see. I look more-
Dumpster
More like a-
fire.
oh,
There
yeah.
it is.
There it is.
Pretty good.
There it is.
Yeah, the
I-
picture was dope.
I love the shirt. I love the pants too.
Yeah, the pants are crazy. Do you have a picture of the pants?
Oh, I gotta pull it up.
Well, that's okay. We'll switch back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a real nice one.
Yeah.
That was the first. Yeah, that was actually the first thing I used that table for,
Oh yeah.
or that projection table for. You did do it.
You got
so
the pants?
so yeah, we made these. Was it for your birthday?
I think it was my
For
birthday.
Abel's
Mhm.
birthday?
Yeah.
Yep.
You got 'em up there?
Come on.
That's still the shirt. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it was for my birthday.
Oh yeah. So this is. You can go back to it. This is the
Oh, cool. Yeah, the projection table.
Oh,
there.
nice.
That's rad.
And then there's the pants.
There's the pants. Love the pants.
The
Wear the
sweatpants
pants. So,
all covered
all
in
Another
the
name
time.
that John had come up with, or Abel had come up with, was the sweatpants. And then I think the first album was going to be All Sweat, No Comfort.
That was either their album or
All
like
Comfort, No
the
Style.
first.
Oh, All Comfort, No Style.
You kept
Do I still do that?
Yeah.
I'll-
And then I thought it was like a great idea for it to like. I thought it'd be fun to actually make music for this band, this fake band, and the idea would be like try to write music that has absolutely no style,
yeah.
like just
Yeah.
the most like, you know,
Yeah.
not boring, but just like so. I don't know what it would be. You know, it'd probably take some experimenting
You
to
should try to find an interpretation for that style. Like,
Yeah.
Try to
no style. That's probably the
Nihilist
genre.
nihilist style.
Mm.
Style of a nihilist. What would that be? That is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I'd expect the style of a nihilist to be bland, right?
Bland.
Mm.
That's
Very
what I would
bland.
They don't
Yeah.
care.
Was that? Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
care.
They don't care.
Bland
So
core.
just
Bland way.
it would just be functional as long
Mhm.
as it's functional, right? Huh. Interesting. Style of a nihilist. That's a nice name for
A band?
something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So that was like 5 at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
20 to go. Well, I guess 19 to go, not including this episode.
Episode 6, we did wall comics.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. And that was a
Another
good
upcycling thing.
transition. Yep.
Mhm.
That was a good transition too from the oh yeah, that's right. We were talking about using like I forget what they're called now, but those carousels or carriages that you'd see big posters in
Mhm.
at like in the back of Newberry Comics or something, those movie posters, those carousels you'd see, and putting huge comic pages in that
Yeah.
and something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The original idea came from I was thinking about using those old map books,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because they were like huge size of posters,
Mhm.
but they had nice like outside, really hard. I don't know if they might have even been wood, like thin wood covered in like tweed.
Yeah.
And then the inside had all these like kind of thick pages.
Like rubbery plastic pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be cool to like make a comic book like that.
Yeah.
That you could hang on your wall and you could just open it off the wall
Mhm.
and read it off the wall.
I thought about that too the other night actually, and I thought what would be really cool and kind of neat is doing that, and especially if the graphics are really cool, but especially even neater if it's your own, and someone would actually take it if they liked it enough and put different part pages in different parts of their house. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Of the comic. I mean, that's what I would do if I had like certain large number of, and you could switch it out maybe even. But if I had of like my favorite comics, let's say, but a more obscure one or something like I don't know, that's kind of a neat thing. Or if your comics do end up going anywhere,
Mhm.
like the price of something like that, the value of it might pop up a bit. But that'd be a really neat thing.
Mm.
It'd take a lot of time and whatnot, but if it looked good,
I don't think it would take that much time. I think like
well, right.
I mean, you could probably, if you geared yourself up with the right manufacturing stuff, you got to think that like it doesn't take a lot of time to make a poster.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take a lot of time to bind a book.
Right.
Like if you had the right stuff,
Yeah.
I think you could do it. I think you could not only do it quickly,
Yeah.
but you could do it very cheaply. I think it could potentially be like, because it's all paper, cardboard, and you wouldn't even need like the old map books had like this tweed, which would probably be the most costly part of it. It's kind of like if you remember like you ever get like a really old book that had like the book tape binding.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see that? And like the front of the book is like cardboard and then has like that tweed outside or some sort of material. I don't know, some sort of fabric on the inside. But you wouldn't need that because you'd be printing.
Right.
So it would just need to be like some sort of really thick, hard cardstock that you
Right.
print onto.
Yeah. That'd
And,
be so it wouldn't be, I guess, yeah. That'd
So
be quick.
I think it'd be
Print.
very, very easy to do if you had a printer that could print pages that big. And then you could obviously get into like screen printing them or
Mhm.
printing them in like a hand done way, which is much more time consuming.
Hand make every single one. I mean, it's cool if it's
Yeah, but you're selling them. The difference is like
Exactly.
you're selling them for $200.
yeah, right.
As opposed to like if you just had the machines that spit out prints,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mhm.
how they print posters.
Right.
I mean, you're probably looking at like being able to sell them for in the ballpark of like $50, 45, $50 bucks.
Yeah,
A
right.
piece. And that would probably be a really high profit margin.
Yeah, right. That's really neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
So that,
I'm definitely running with that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
definitely going to do that. Whether it becomes like whether I get into like a big scale of it or if I just do them handmade, just a few of them. Even maybe
you
just
can
do 'em
even
for me.
start on the small scale, like make like see how big, and that would help in itself, like
Yeah.
prototype wise.
Yeah, right.
That would be really neat.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that was
I-
episode.
Yeah. I would start with like the upcycled map books though. I would try to
Oh,
find
right.
those.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
Yeah, that was a
upcycled.
huge push for that. Oh, well, I'd be happy to help with the prototype on that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What else we got? What was episode 6?
6 was Wall Comics.
Oh, okay, that
and
was episode
then
6.
7 was the paranormal ideas. Oh, with the show of
Oh, yeah.
everybody's in on or
Everybody's in on it, but like the one person who's in the thing thinking it's real
Yeah.
and they're like,
of like the ghost hunter shows.
Yeah, yep, that was good. And then also the idea that you came up with, which was like it ends up being real at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the Ghost Hunter show, it ends up being like a real thing. And there's like it's almost like massacre type, but then it just goes to the next the next
Oh,
episode.
yeah, in
and
the
they
show.
and they just wrap it up.
In the show,
And
they
they're
just
like,
wrap
"All
it
right,
up
next
and they never
week."
tell them that it's like not real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then
What
it's
just
like
happened?
it's like next week, and I like that it's a ghost hunter crew. Nothing happens the whole episode. It's just, and you can go nuts with that, like have fun, like kind of go into the Office, like the
Yeah.
British Office, like mockumentary style.
Exactly.
But it's real in the sense that like you think it's like an actual ghost hunters thing, and then nothing happens. But then at the end, like quickly, like in the last minute, like
Something crazy.
like
happens.
whatever they're looking for actually ends up like going nuts, and you spend all your money, like, or effects, whatever, on just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, next week on
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters, like, and it's a new crew like every week, because they end up getting like fucked up from whatever it is they're looking for. And then that danced into the idea, if it's like a reality TV show about a reality TV show and the person's in on it, right? That was like
Yeah, I was up in the air on whether it should be either A, the person that is the medium, like they get, or the person that believes they talk to ghosts or whatever,
Mhm.
whether they're not in on it,
Mhm.
but then like stuff that they can't explain actually starts happening, and then see their reaction, or B, if the audience was the one that isn't in on it and never let on that it's fake.
Mm.
So I couldn't decide, because then they could be watching, and then like the whole time they're like, this, nothing's happening. What's going on? And then some crazy shit happens.
Mhm.
And then, like you said, like next week on, and they're like,
Yeah.
wait, what the fuck? Like, did
Yeah,
that happen?
right.
So I couldn't decide, probably both would work.
Yeah.
Both would be entertaining, but whether you let the audience in on it, or it's more of like a prank on someone who thinks they speak to ghosts or something.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, because that's right, you were saying like my big thing is just like kind of like especially, I think it was Ghost Hunters, I'm sure it was like the official show, or like Ghost Fighters or something, where there's kind of
So many of
this
them, there's
dude
like-
that was a bro, like Tank. He was pretty well cut. He'd go to the gym often, like cool in sync haircut, and he's just like walking around in the night vision, so you just see the night vision eyes, like in him. He looks coked up. I don't, he might not have been just excited, and they're in like the basement of some place, and he's like, "Where are you at?" And he's calling the names of the ghosts. He's like, "Where you at? Let's go." He's like, "Well, I'm right here." But like he actually ends up getting like possessed,
Yeah.
and like demon like splits through his mouth kind of thing, and it's like cuts, and then next week it just
And then the
completely
audience
is
is like,
what
happened?"
just happened here? Yeah. And it's like a new crew. So just kind of seeing things like that.
Hmm.
Like a really kind of obnoxious, like last, like Quentin Tarantino violent, like last minute
It's
or
exactly
2
what I was
minutes,
thinking. Yeah.
and then
Like you know what I think of probably as like the most inspiration for that last minute of these shows would be the scene in Cabin in the Woods, when all of the
alien, when
creatures
everything
come
comes
out.
out. Yeah, it's such a good scene. That is such a fun scene.
that's like probably one of the best like gore scenes ever.
That's such a fun horror movie,
Yeah,
like action
so good.
movie.
I watched
Yeah.
it again recently. I was
Yeah,
like,
we watched it around Halloween.
I can't believe how good this movie is, and
That's a great idea.
whoever made this, why
Whoever
are they
did
not
that.
making more movies?
Yeah, I can't quite remember who the creator was.
I think I
I'm
looked
bad
it
with
up
names
fairly.
anyways.
I think I looked it up fairly recently, and I was like, they didn't make anything,
Really?
and they just made
Huh.
that.
That's
And
good.
I was like, what?
Quit while you're ahead, maybe. That's amazing. That's such a
Oh,
fun
Drew
movie.
Goddard. It's the guy that did Lost, isn't it? Isn't that the same guy
Oh
that
yeah,
did
I
Lost?
believe it was like someone who did things in the past but hasn't done anything since.
Oh, since
Is that right?
Cloverfield, Cabin in the Woods.
Cloverfield was.
Oh, he
this
did
one?
Cloverfield. I don't think he directed it.
Might
Did he
have-
direct it?
Might have done Cloverfield Paradox. That wasn't as great, I thought.
Oh, he wrote it.
He wrote it. Yeah,
Oh.
that sounds like it. Sounds like
Cloverfield's awesome too. Another super
Yeah.
fun, like sci-fi
I
kind of
love that.
horror.
Yeah, it was a great
super
one.
good.
acting was a bit, but it was
Yeah. So then we should move through it too, because we're
Yeah,
on
no,
8.
Yeah, we might have a part 1, part 2 to be honest.
Yeah, yes.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So we were on 8.
Going down a rabbit hole. That was 7.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're gonna have a part 2 to this for
Yeah.
sure. That's all right. We'll do the first 12 or so.
Yeah. We'll stop at 12.
Okay, so the next one was the augmented ideas. So like
Oh,
augmented
yeah?
reality.
Well,
stuff.
since we talked about that, it actually has come out.
Yeah. Yep. The
Apple
Apple
Vision.
Vision.
Mhm.
From what I've seen, and it looks impressive. What it does is what you were more or less describing for certain things.
Yeah,
It's a little scary. I did see a dude in the street the other day.
yeah. People
He
are wearing it,
stopped.
which I can't believe.
He
but-
stopped like a foot away from where he was supposed to, and then I saw a video almost of the same thing, like multiple videos, like it's all over online. But I didn't even know it was released yet. I saw the dude with it, and then I saw, and he looked like he was conducting. He looked like he was conducting a. I knew who it was too. I knew him from work, conducting like an orchestra, and while crossing the street. But you can still see it's augmented, so you can still see what's around you, right?
Yes, but okay.
Because he stopped.
Yeah.
He then stopped a foot or two from the curb
and missed it.
and didn't do anything and just like started like looking through something, and he started to get a little upset, and then he kind of like took it off, and he was in the road.
Yeah.
He was in the road. He wasn't like in the middle happily, but he was a foot or two away from the curb. He just stopped, and at first I was
scary.
impressed. I was like, "Oh, cool! He's got one of those things." And I was like, "Oh, look at him!" And then, like,
Yeah.
it must have felt so cool, especially if he was listening to music at the
Oh,
same
yeah, yeah.
time.
To him, he's Iron Man. He's like,
It must have been amazing.
he's
Yeah,
like a superhero, right? But to like everyone else. you know,
yeah. Until
like,
and it looked
what
like he
the
hit some
fuck?
kind of deficiency because that's what made him stop. Either something got loaded up or
Well, here's the thing with these. Okay, they're not exactly what I thought they were going to be, because I was thinking it was going to be some sort of clear lens that you're just looking through, and then overlaid on that lens are the digital projections.
the memories of the
yeah,
things that
that-
you
yeah.
placed in the.
That's not what it
points.
is.
Mm.
You are not looking out of these goggles.
You're-
They're cameras. You are
Oh,
looking
really?
at a screen.
That's bad.
No way,
That's
really?
one-
100%.
Well, that's not really augmented, is it?
You are looking at a screen that has cameras that are looking out at what's around.
That's so. I did not know that.
I didn't know that
I haven't.
either.
I haven't
and I was
looked into
really
it yet.
disappointed when I heard that. I was like, "Oh no, that's never gonna work."
Mm.
Because, like you said, people are missing curbs. They think they're on top of it, and they're missing it because it's like,
Mm.
your perception
You have
compared to a
amazing
lens,
view. Yeah.
compared to a lens, your perception is going to be much better. You don't have as much lens distortion. And I'm sure they tried to get it as tight as possible,
That's
but
a bummer. That's
it's still going to be off.
that's ridiculous.
And then you have
I thought it was.
exposure
I thought it was
issues.
a see-through screen.
That's
and
what
then-
I thought. No, it's
They
weird.
couldn't do that.
They couldn't do it. You're looking at a screen in there,
That's not
and then the
good.
projection of your eyes are another camera that's looking at your eyes and projecting your eyes out,
That's
which is why people look like these like bug-eyed like bubbles.
yeah. The closer I got to it, and the more I saw the activity going, I mean, it seems good to use in your studio. You could still use it for that,
that's
right?
My purpose for it was like it would make a very great work environment then,
Mhm.
where like you
Mhm.
were in your studio.
Yep.
And or I even think of like, can you imagine if like an inventor from back in the day had something like this,
Yeah.
where
yeah.
normally they were scribbling on paper,
Yeah. Right.
you
right.
know, and having to save things and pull things up, whereas like all of a sudden they could have this shit all around them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just think for productivity wise, it is a very cool thing.
And simple. Like that idea of categorizing is awesome because you said also something that intrigued me the most about that was you can make multiple rooms.
Yeah.
So this room right now could have all this, say all this was augmented that I set up.
Yeah.
And then I save that room and then I upload another room and it's all instead of music or whatever,
Yeah.
it's
It's-
paints and
Painting.
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. Yeah.
Drawing or anything.
I dig
Reading
that.
comics
That's really
or
cool.
whatever. Movie theater room.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in that way, it's really cool, but it's just not there yet. And
Yeah,
and like
It's not certainly not there
They
yet.
make
these things are dangerous. People are mostly walking around with them. Like I'm
Holy
seeing people
smokes.
walk around with them and like, dude, if that thing shuts off, like, are you driving with this shit? Like if that thing just shuts
No,
off,
you
like,
can't drive
see
with
it.
that. Yeah, there's I don't know. Is that going to be a new law?
I'm
Like,
sure-
did
I'm
you
sure,
have
like,
augmented
the
something
The law has
augmented?
to catch up. I bet right now there's no laws that have anything to do with it.
Because I was thinking the
Maybe
other day
obstruction
about
law?
augmentation to your screen on your dash, like on your car, where like there's no dash, everything is on your window, and then I realized I was like, that's probably not a great idea, or maybe it is. Like if you can see everything,
Yeah.
and it's and so your clock, your gauge, your gas gauge, everything is actually on your window, you know.
Right. That's
And
what I
so,
was thinking it was going to be, and it's
um,
just not that.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does suck.
I mean, I wouldn't get one anyways, but I
Fucking
certainly won't.
$4,000.
You know, it's like the CD player. People would
Hmm.
pay like $2,000 for a 2-disc CD player, you know,
Yeah.
when it first came out,
Yeah.
and there were still barely any CDs that you could play at the time. And by within half a year, there are already better ones that are cheaper. You know,
Yeah.
it's really interesting how these things go. But
And
yeah,
they got like a battery pack, so like they don't have a battery built into them.
I do remember you saying
it's
like
got, like,
that
a
was
battery
what they
pack,
might have.
Big wire.
Yeah,
It lasts
gee.
like 2 hours.
Gee.
And I'm just
You
like,
know what
this
it is?
thing like-
I wonder. It almost reminded me of the Jurassic Park binoculars
That's exactly what it
that the
looks
kid
like.
grabbed from the back. To look at the goat. You know.
Yeah.
And those looked awesome.
Where's
I
the
mean,
goat?
they should have just made it look like that. They would make way more sales because I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Maybe not for $4,000, but
I can't find any videos of people walking around with them on.
really,
Yeah.
I've only seen a couple, and they looked exactly like my friend, my co.
Did you put in the correct terminology for him?
The shit
Apple
was that?
Vision Pro?
I don't know. Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, there was I clicked the video by accident.
Oh.
It popped up.
Well, we shouldn't hang on this too long.
Yeah,
But we went all over the place with augmented reality. I think we ended up talking about virtual reality, and then AI came up a lot in
Was that episode that AI came up with?
one of them.
I think
One
so.
of
I
them,
think
and
it
then
came
more
up in a
recently we
few
had
of 'em,
it came up again. And so that was 8. What was 9?
The zines.
Zines.
Oh, yeah, zines
Mhm.
are fun.
That was a good one. We talked
Yeah.
about the idea of zines and different things, and we spitballed.
Spitball.
Spatball.
Spatballed.
We spitballed
Yes.
different ideas for that, especially with our ideas for comics. I think we brought back up Quint a little bit.
Yeah. I absolutely love the idea of a zine because of its sort of like free form, anything goes. It can
Mhm.
be about anything. It can be really niche. Absolutely adore that. I think that it's such a cool medium that even every time I hear about it, I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
I could make it about anything. There's some things that I absolutely love and I do a ton of research on that are like no one cares about.
Mm.
And I love the idea of like going all out and making this magazine about something that most people just don't give a shit about at all and just getting really deep into it.
Yeah,
You know?
Mm.
that'd be
And
cool.
just like the
Yeah.
few people that would care about it.
That'd be great.
I just
Yeah.
think it's so cool.
I think so too.
Yeah,
That's good.
absolutely love that idea.
Zines, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have to return to that, and maybe try to
Yeah.
come up with something. Like I said, we can set these cool like little goals for like little things. and
I think
just-
we talked about
just see.
having a space scene.
yeah,
Mhm.
yep, we did.
I
We
think
did.
that was part of it. I think we
Yeah.
talked about like
Getting
and-
photos of like different new paintings, and
Yeah.
kind of like the website, basically
Mhm.
making the website on the magazine.
And I
Yeah.
remember doing research and finding that guy that was he had a studio where he made a bunch of art and stuff, and for his zine he would use scraps. So everyone would get a different one, but he would have scraps lying around his studio that he never used, and he would make a zine out of just scrap. It would be all different
Of
Whoa.
art and
materials.
stuff.
Wood, it would be like pieces
Oh,
of fabric.
Yeah,
It would
that's
be,
good.
and then he would just do little doodles in them, or just little doodles he
Yeah, that's
had.
so
He would stuff
excellent.
into them, Yeah, all sorts of like parts of his sneakers that he didn't use anymore. You chop them up and put them in there, and I was just like, this
Wow.
is so cool.
That's excellent.
That's
So
crazy.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that called outsider art?
What the guy who does that?
Or like that type of art that like
I have no
when
idea.
you just use I might be thinking that's
Oh,
another
like
subject.
found art.
Yeah, yeah. I think outsider art's something else.
Hmm.
I'll bring it up next one. But so that's 9. And we're going to 12, right? 12 episodes?
Yeah, I think we're gonna probably have to end at 12. And we'll do a part 2.
Yeah. And so what was 10?
10 was ideas for spaces where you can have more ideas about space.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was a fun one. We talked a lot about I think actually we went back to augmented reality. We mentioned that
Yep.
again. That's where you were thinking of making a virtual space for yourself.
Yep.
I think we talked a lot about actually organization in that one. We talked about what we do for organization, what works. It
Mhm.
was not the most thrilling episode, but it was. I thought I've gone back. I've actually probably re-listened to that one a few times over, because there's just like
How you get in the headspace.
you get in the headspace like for doing something. I'm like, I need to either clean or I want to do something today. If it's a day off in this place full of
Yeah.
fun things.
And I think we brought up the idea of like stations,
Yeah.
like having spots in the studio.
Absolutely.
Little pockets of. I mean, I that's how I function.
That's what, and since then, that's actually
Yeah.
more so what we've done.
Yeah.
We've got we've definitely brought music out here.
Yeah.
Kaylee, that's clearly your spot for like painting, things like that. I made this table so that those pockets could be wherever. But yeah, we've definitely made like a nice little spot, for every little thing that we do. That is excellent. And
Yeah.
that was based off a lot of it was based off of. You had a lot of good things to say in that one. You had a lot of great things in
Yeah,
Enable.
I'm
That was great.
really big on
Organization.
I try to stay very organized. Mostly not because I think it's hard.
Mhm.
Like it's hard to do. It's not something that like I'm obsessive
Mm.
about in the sense that like I have to do it or I can't function. It's more that I got really tired of
Yeah,
that I
to do.
needed to do that.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I thought it was such like
Practical.
a creative
Mhm.
killer.
yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it just
Definitely.
squashed it because I would be frustrated. Like, oh, I want to play music. Oh, I whatever. Where's this cable? And I'm digging around for it. 30 minutes later, I'm rip shit that I can't find it. I don't want to
Mhm.
play music anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're kind of pissed off.
You're pissed
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Oh, I want to draw. I can't find my pen.
Or you have to
Mhm.
clean,
know?
or you're like, I have to clean. It's so messy. I have to clean,
Yep.
or I have to organize, and you don't come up then even with like a solid Yeah,
Yep.
it's an annoyance.
And I think during that, even Taylor brought up the fact, because it's probably impossible to be completely 100% organized. Like you can be, but I think Taylor brought it up. I don't know if it was Katie's idea or Taylor's, but to have a table or a space where it's like
The
like
interloper table.
There you go,
Yeah,
interloper
Katie
table.
did
I use that
Yeah.
all the time when I clean now.
Yeah.
Always.
Mhm.
There's
it's
always
just
a
like
table
the
that has
table that's
all
like
the
I don't know what to do
The
with this shit.
catch-all.
miscellaneous.
Yep,
And
yeah.
then that's what you hit when you get micro. Like
Mhm.
after you've cleaned everything and everything is organized, you get to that stuff to micro manage all that stuff that's on that table. Some of it might get tossed, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or moved out
Mhm.
of the it's not usable or like necessary here.
Also, another interesting thing about that, I don't know if we brought this up, but I've talked to Goodwin a lot about this. Goodwin's always brought up to me that he there's things that he doesn't use regularly, and he'll put them like in a box and in his closet or something. And if he gets every few months, he'll go through that stuff, and if he's never pulled it out of there in those few months, he'll just throw it away.
Mm.
Because he's like, I'm not using it. I don't really need it.
Mm.
If I needed it, like I would have gotten it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I think
wouldn't be in
that's
the
really
box.
a good way to like stay decluttered.
Definitely.
Because like gathering things is like probably the number one way to stay messy and not be able to have too many things to be able to like,
Definitely. As I'm getting older, I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
And being around other people that are like that definitely help. But yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Like, why not give yourself that time and space for being creative or coming up with ideas, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would also to push back on that a little bit. Sometimes, and this is a very good example of it, sometimes visually stuff can be aesthetic,
Mm.
right? Something that
Yeah, we got shit
You're
all over
not
the place
u-
here.
yeah,
It's like,
but, like,
Mhm.
you're not using these reels or these speakers.
yeah,
You're not using, there's a bunch of shit. Like, you have some amps and old TVs up there that you're not using,
right.
but they look cool up there.
Exactly. And that's why
And
I
I
put
think
them
that
there.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Right, right.
I think
I
that-
would agree.
'Cause
Yeah.
I would say
It's
that
out of the
that-
way. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that this becomes something.
they are also visual cues for me to not forget
Yeah.
that I have them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not so much like a busted record or tape machine, which just looks awesome. Like there isn't a tape machine that I've
I
seen
think there's
that
nothing
doesn't
wrong
look
with
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd line up all of this. I would just collect them for that. Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. And as I'm getting older, I am seeing clutter. And like there is like say like clutter right there. And I'm like, I have actually used a lot of that. It's like a wood pile or a use another use pile. Like I look at that stuff, I'm like, we could definitely utilize that for some bigger project or something. And
It's the stuff behind that stuff that you got to do.
that you get freaked out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That you're like, this stuff probably I don't need.
Yeah.
definitely,
I mean?
definitely. And we've gotten much better. Like as we just get older, we're like, we don't have, it's just we don't want it,
Right.
and especially if we're thinking of moving to another place that's more permanent. So yeah, no, there's definitely something aesthetically pleasing, but then there's also a place looking more dumpy, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
and being difficult for anyone to function in it. Some artists though, like doesn't matter. Like that's just how their space is. My dad mentioned he had two friends that were artists around the same age, and one was extremely organized. Every little thing had its own little cubby. She knew exactly where everything was. His other friend was like a mountain of just what he thought was just like Christmas tree. He thought she just collected Christmas, like old Christmas tree ornaments and stuff. He said because he couldn't tell what it just looked like piles of Christmas crap. But he said he loved the art from both of them.
Right.
And when he asked her where, or when she was looking for the messier one, when she was looking for something, she still knew exactly where it was. There's some people like to them that is organized, I feel like I'm in a muddy in between,
Mhm.
and so it's easy for me to fall into a lack of organized. And I'm also not great at remembering where things were. You are phenomenal at that, at remembering where I left this.
Mhm.
You remember things for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't know where are my keys that I put down 5 hours ago. You're like, oh, there, put them down behind the TV, or something like that. It helps. I think it helps to be messy in that situation, or like less organized visually, because in your head it's all organized.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I'm like, I don't know where I left that cable, that quarter inch, that splitter, unless I put it back where it always goes. It's just,
Right.
different minds, different things like that. But I think finding that and figuring that out will kind of help clear the path for
I think ultimately where we
Definitely.
ended on that episode and the moral of that episode was you just got to understand yourself
yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah,
you function,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you got to do what works for you.
right.
But I think we would all agree that the idea is to not be frustrated when you want to make something, to
Mhm.
not go through this, half an hour of complete frustration before you do it, unless that's the type of art you make. I don't know, you need
Yeah,
to be
right.
frustrated to make your art. I'm
Mm.
sure there's people
Well,
out there
that
and
or
that's
like
fine,
there's
but-
like
Yeah.
maybe there's some weird struggle or process. Like,
Sure.
I always have to find this paintbrush, and I know but if it were like right there in front of them, that's like, oh, like it just didn't, like the painting didn't come out the same.
But I
something
would
like
I would
that.
say
don't know.
probably
Could
for
be.
99%
Yeah, yeah.
of artists out there, as long as you're in a position where you know where all your shit is
Super helpful.
and you're not looking for shit,
Mhm.
like I think that's
Well, the idea too is like with my studios too, when I come in, I want to be able to only press a couple of buttons if I have an idea, or if I just come in
Exactly.
from work and I just feel like hopping on something.
You
I
don't wanna
just want to
set
press a
shit
couple of
up.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is helpful. You get that
Mhm.
time that's very, very precious.
Definitely.
And So what's the episode we're on? What episode 11?
11 was Art on Wheels, so like traveling.
Oh,
Oh.
traveling. That was a super fun one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a cool one.
Working
That's
out of a
something that
camper.
Abel does. Yep.
Yeah.
Abel's been all over the country in his camper doing exactly that. Yeah,
Very
that's
fun.
That's a really fun episode.
Makes you very strong. Like
Mhm.
I never felt more strong, like physically.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
when
right.
and I was very, very lean. Just always felt good
Mhm.
because you had to work for everything.
Mm.
You know, it helps you not take anything for granted. Like,
Yeah.
you know, taking a real full hot shower was amazing because I was always taking. I mean, I had a hot water heater, but I was taking camping showers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right.
You know, so just putting the water on for a minute at a time. But yeah,
Makes you humble. Yeah.
makes you humble, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I think there's this really weird perception of that online where, and it definitely went on during the pandemic,
Yeah.
this perception of like, oh, this is like the freedom. When you do this, when you go get a camper and you live in your camper and you drive around the country, this is like bliss.
Mm.
And it's so glamorized.
Mm.
And there's just not enough of like, no, it's really hard.
You're at the mercy of a lot of different
You are at the
stuff.
mercy. It's
Where you're gonna
can you imagine
all the way down
if
to
you-
where you're gonna park at night. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Exactly. Can you imagine if you don't know where you're going to sleep every single night?
Mm.
Like, it's hard. It makes you smart. It makes you very
Have to calculate
savvy,
gas.
very, very
Financially, also like you have to really watch every little penny you spend. That's insane. For
Um,
food, for gas. Yeah.
You can
it's
only
nuts.
so it makes you smart in that way. Like
Yeah.
you can like, I feel like it was definitely like a survival crash course
Mm.
where like I feel like, you know, I don't know, like I could survive in many different climates and
Circumstances,
experiences,
yeah.
circumstances. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. But too glamorized,
Mhm.
but amazing at the same
Mm.
time if you're kind of cut out for it. If you know you can make money on the road and that's what you want to do, then you should be fine,
Mm.
you know. But you know, there's things like you have to know how to fix this thing if it breaks down. Like you cannot
Mhm.
rely. I can't tell you how many people, especially during the pandemic, that I watched like people like, oh, I'm gonna go get a mini school bus and I'm gonna tour the country. And then they drive for, you know, a day and a half and they get a flat tire and it costs them $900 to have
'Cause
their
it's a
tire
school
replaced.
bus. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like you did not think this through.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
like you have to think that shit through.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, because these tires are $400 a piece
Yeah.
and you have to
It's a
have
school
your
bus.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to really, there's a lot to it that you have to work
Mm.
out in your head.
Mm.
And it's not all glitz and glamour, and don't believe a lot of the shit you see online.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gnarly.
It's a struggle, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good episode. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up this episode, what was number 12?
Number 12.
number 12 was props.
Oh, neat.
Picking different props.
Yep. Yeah, you had a lot to say on that, Kaylee.
Mhm.
Being a clown, and you talked about Sally Squats and her props, and
Yep.
Mums, right? Mums.
Mums.
I think
is
we-
kind of a prop. Well, Mums had his own episode too. Where we talked about him a little more.
yes, later in the series. But you went into into like the props a clown has. We talked about different. We also talked about film props. We talked about, and I think that's how we started to get into the idea of a news broadcast. I think that's the episode.
Was it?
It might have been, because I do remember us talking about
maybe.
props and then
Hmm.
talking about, is a green screen a prop? Is this a prop?
Mm.
Is this staging props? Like all of this. And then we even looked up the
It might
definition.
have, because then the next one is the ideas for YouTube channels and stuff. So I think that's how it like snowballed.
Yeah,
into
so
that.
so we
Mhm.
came up with cool ideas in that episode about especially one about a news broadcast kind of idea.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's the infamous one of like the thing that we need to do, the local news broadcast. I feel like that was a later one, but was it that one maybe?
Well, I think that was
Maybe the start of it.
I think we started talking about it, and then the next episode is like ideas for YouTube channels. and I
Oh,
think
and then
that's
that
where
was
we
it.
really got
Cool.
into,
That was
like,
neat,
the
neat.
news thing. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
So that's another reason point to this show is like our episodes, like in our topics for the episodes are I mean, like everything else in life, but our ideas. And so like one episode where our digression might be after the episode we'll think of and we'll spawn an idea for the next episode.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
today. Like our plan was just to rattle through this, but we started talking about action figures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we spent way too long on certain, well, not even too long, but we just spent a long time on different
Probably
things.
could have been its own episode.
And
but
pogs.
Yeah.
It almost became a pog
another
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna be our our 1
the
year
pogs.
anniversary show.
Yeah.
What can we do with pogs?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
really hone in on.
Yeah,
pogs.
we should like every episode we should have a new pog idea,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause, we wanted to bring up the idea of segments,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Yep.
that's
Um,
where
We can still have one for part 2 next week. We can have like
Yeah.
so let's make a plan. Next week each person has to come up with their own, with a superhero.
Oh,
Like so it's a superhero
I already
segment.
have mine.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I already mentioned it to you guys a little bit, but
Okay,
not
cool.
not just a superhero, but like one of the
Potentials.
potentials. So these
Okay.
are
Don't give it away.
superheroes. What?
Don't give it away now.
What the superheroes are?
The one that we're gonna do.
No,
one for next week.
but the potentials are superheroes that have powers that are pretty much useless.
Like, well, no.
Mm,
Well, the
well-
idea is like how they use them is not to its best. Like Rock Boy, he just always has a rock in his pocket, but he's like very, very accurate. He can like throw these rocks at insane speeds. Turns out he's like got like this crazy. He's actually like an elemental type thing. He has control of like stones. It's like looked into, but really,
Yeah.
in most of the story, at least in the beginning, he just throws rocks.
Yeah.
You know. But also, yeah, there were other ideas.
I think I thought of the one with the the power was they could float like 1 inch off the ground.
yeah.
the hover one.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
hover-
That
what
was
it?
another one.
I think we had a name of it for it.
It was supposed to be the name of
Hover
the,
Boy, maybe,
the
or something?
hoverboard in
Oh yeah, it was the
Oh.
name of the hoverboard in Back to the Future. Yeah, right,
Oh,
right.
Okay. What do you remember what that was?
I don't. But
But,
that's a great one. And
You
like
can only hover like 1 inch off the ground.
exactly. But like, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Like, it's not
It's
as impressive as
but
flying.
not very useful.
But
Yeah.
as like the story progresses, maybe like that's like, and that could even be an issue, is like the progression of each character, like a little further. Like
Mattel.
Mattel.
that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so neat.
Yeah.
And that was like the name of the character was Mattel. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our.
But
that's our
I
thought.
think it's a very interesting and fun, like in the right, like being a writer for something like that,
yeah,
to have these powers that are kind of useless, but how you can write them into a story where they save the day.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's a very fun writing exercise that could, I mean, I would love to work on that too. There's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many
we should
things
do
I-
that. All right, cool. So next week we'll have definitely each of us, and if anybody who watches, come up with an idea for. There we go. Like, kind of put an exercise for them. I don't know, homework, because we're trying to
Homework.
get this show into double digits, folks. All right, we're at like 9 right now. We want to bring it up to maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Okay, so so come up with an idea for next week. You're a superhero. Or like a character, a comic book character, maybe even. But let's try to like a
think that-
hero.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
a
fun,
superhero. Like that's your idea. What's their power, and maybe their name.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I
well,
like
each
it.
of us will come up with one too. Power and name.
Power and name.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Well, that was episode 25. We're a
Yeah.
quarter years old now,
Yeah.
and we were going to continue this look back, and maybe we'll have a couple other segments, so it's not all looking back. But
Mhm.
for next week. But one is, don't forget the superhero segment, and yeah, this was a good one. So we'll go from 13 to yeah. Are we going to
25.
go over today's next time?
We're gonna recap the recap.
We should
Let's
definitely
go over the recap.
Yeah.
And recap.
That's excellent. All right, we'll do that too. That'll be a fun one.
That'll be the 1 year anniversary. Let's go over the recap. But not for nothing, but I can see how that progresses the ideas if we did that.
Mhm.
Right? Because I think we've already spit out new ideas for the old topics that we've talked about.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So maybe that progresses those ideas.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's the idea of this show, Dave, right? Is more ideas. We're just trying to make more ideas. So I think it was Dave, right? Who
Yeah.
your buddy Dave. Yeah.
That
definitely.
whole thing was an explanation for Dave.
For
so he
Dave,
knew what the
right?
show
Yeah.
was about.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Definitely. Yeah. Just ideas. The show's all about ideas. And spilling the beans was whose idea?
I think it's you.
Who's ours? We were sitting.
Yeah, spilling
Outside-
the beans,
outside talking
letting
about
it out, and spilling the beans to our ideas that
It's all
we
of
may
ours
not
now.
have
It's all
have
of ours. It's all,
yeah.
I think.
That
That's
we
what we
may
do.
not have time to finish or come up with, or whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's us. That's episode 25.
That's
Thanks for
it.
sticking around, and have
All
a
right,
great
kids.
night.
Have a
From
good night.
Everybody.
Abel, Kaylee,
And Connor.
and me, Connor. Take care. Bye, everybody. Here comes
Hanging out, just another night of the week. Or to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight. We're spilling the beans.